Are you tired of wearing a mask? Are you sick of trying to fit into society, into other people's worlds? Do you feel uncomfortable in that kind of environment? This is because we put on this persona, we put on this external personality to try and fit in, to try and be accepted. But this isn't who we truly are. This is inauthenticity. And until we come to find our true selves, we can't truly understand who we are, but we can't embody who we are. This happens, we can do this through the process of individuation. Carl Jung speaks about this, and it's a great way to discover who you truly are. This is how we get to live authentically, instead of living for somebody else's rules. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach, and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So the persona is our external mask. The persona is what we invent, a personality we invent, so that we can fit into society. That's so that we can feel accepted. Do you know? So in doing this, we suppress our true selves. We suppress our authenticity. We suppress who we truly are. And suppression of the shadow is very dangerous, because if we leave the shadow unchecked, it can become volatile. Now, Carl Jung speaks about 4 different steps, or 4 different archetypes in our journey to individuation. Individuation is the journey to becoming your true self, to rediscovering your true self. So there's the persona, which is the mask I spoke about. This is who we pretend to be in order to fit in order to feel accepted. Then there's the shadow aspect. This is the parts of ourselves that we suppress, the parts that we're ashamed of, the parts of ourselves that we hide because we feel that people will discriminate or, outcast us because of these likes or dislikes. And then there's the anima animus, which is the soul. That's coming to find your soul and your essence. And then there's the final stage, which is knowing thyself. Finding out who you truly are. Because this is the thing. We're putting on this mask for the world, for the matrix, for society to try and fit in. That's not who we are. That is fake. That is false. And when we act like we're not ourselves, when we act inauthentic, this suppresses our shadow. Now, I've spoken about the shadow before. Shadow work is so important. Like, when I first discovered shadow work, it's after changing my life completely. I'll describe, for example, before I get back into this. Your shadow is like a small child. If you ignore a small child, they're going to get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. If you ignore your shadow, it's going to get louder and louder and louder. But this is the thing. If we don't balance our light and our dark, the dark gets fucking dark. And that's not what we want. When I didn't understand shadow work, I used to have a few voices in my head when I started my journey. So many different voices. The ego, the soul, all of it. You know what I mean? And the shadow's in there as well. But this voice used to come in and it used to be dark. Oh, it used to be so evil. And I was just like, this is not who I am. This is absolutely horrible. Why is there something inside me that are saying these words? That's when I started to learn shadow work and I started to study a bit of Carl Jung's individuation. And this is the thing. If the shadow is left unchecked, like I'll describe my shadow side. I've described this in another video. I've got a that's what she said personality. I'm cheeky, I'm fun. I just love that boldness. I'm a little bit like, naughty, whatever. And if I leave that unchecked, I can get too pervy and inappropriate. And if I actually let the light kind of get stronger, too strong, I get prudish. I don't like that side either. I don't want to be a fucking prude. You know what I mean? I don't want to be perv either. So therefore, I want to be balanced in the middle. I want to be that's what she said. And that's it, and this is parts of ourselves. You see, with our shadow, we are hiding parts of ourselves that we shouldn't even be fucking ashamed of. We're hiding, certain things that society has told us we can't like. Or even, I'll go back to my Justin Bieber fucking analogy. Years ago, if I told my friends that I liked a Justin Bieber song, they would have laughed at me. And even a small thing like that, not opening up about your likes and dislikes, that's suppression of your shadow. This can lead to volatile behavior. You know what I mean? And if we suppress, this is it. If we're living inauthentic, if we're hiding our true selves, this is going to come out in aggression. This is going to come out in frustration, in anger, in upset. because we're not living our authentic selves. We're not living a life in alignment with our true self, with our souls. This is the problem. So if you're constantly living with this mask to pretend to be someone you're not, to fit into a world that you don't belong in, you don't belong there anymore. You're evolving, you're awakening, you're growing. If this is going to lead to dis-ease in your body. You're going to have physical symptoms if you're living out of alignment with your soul, if you're suppressing parts of your shadow. You're going to have anger, aggression. Your personality is going to change because you're leaving stuff unchecked. You're not facing your shadow. And this is the thing, your shadow isn't that fucking dark. It's not. It's full of color and creativity and brightness and your uniqueness. This is it. There's such magic and beauty to be found in your shadow. We have to, you cannot have one without the other. It's yin, yang, black, white. It's hate, love. You have to have one to balance out the other. We need to balance our light and our dark. When we balance our light and dark, we become rainbows. And I mean that. I found such creativity in my shadow. I found, years ago, as a child, I gave up on creative endeavors or artistic work because I felt I wasn't good enough. So I suppressed a part of myself that I loved. I love art. I love drawing. I love fucking colouring. Do you know what I mean? And I even suppressing parts of yourself from childhood. That's another thing. We're suppressing our inner child. All of this shit is going to start coming up in dis-ease and it's going to create imbalance within your life. This is why it's so important to face the parts of yourself that you're hiding. Why are you hiding it? Do you really want to wear this mask anymore? Do you still want to be in that environment? The process of individuation is coming to discover who you truly are and why you're here on this fucking planet. There's more to life than this fucking hamster wheel. You know what I mean? We're not here to be slaves to a fucking toxic fucking system. And the only way we can escape that is by knowing who we truly are, by living who we truly are, living in authenticity. This is the process that we need to go through, and it can be hard. It can be hard because, another thing with shadow as well, actually, if you're triggered by another person's behavior or appearance, it means that there's something in your shadow that you're suppressing about yourself. The triggers you get from other people specifically are trying to show you what parts of yourself you're not showing. I'll tell you an example. I used to wear black clothes all the time. All the time. You see me wearing white and blue? Never. Fuck that shit. It was black. Since a teenager. And this is another thing. When I was a teenager, I grew up in a masculine household. I had my dad and my brother. So I went from liking pinks to wearing goth clothes. And all my life I wore black because I had trouble with my weight as well. So I was kind of, slimming down as well. But always wore black. And if I saw somebody wearing colours, I would be fucking triggered. I'd get angry, what the fuck is wrong with them? I'd get really, really triggered. And now I get triggered by seeing people wear black clothes because I'm like, oh my God, that's my old self. I have a balance now, but I wear colours I remember one time I was forced to wear coloured, flowery, bright clothes because my clothes got wet. And literally, I was just I looked in the mirror, I looked lovely. I looked like a lovely girl. But I was like, I'll never wear anything like this again. Now I wear all the colours of the fucking rainbow because I fucking love colour. But even simple things like that, if you see something in somebody else's appearance that triggers you, it's because you're suppressing something within yourself. So what are you hiding? Why are you fucking hiding? At this day and age, I'm sick of people pretending to be something they're not. Why are you trying to fit into a fucking toxic environment? Because this is it. If I wasn't living my truth, I would still be around people who were toxic. And I would still be depleting my energy because of this and trying to... But I've always been pretty out there. You know what I mean? Around friends and family and everything, I've always been my weird self. But like, you know, there is times that we have to suppress. Actually, no, I'm trying to think. I've always been weird. So yeah, I've always been pretty much living authentically. But I have tried to fit into environments that I don't belong in. And that's it. Just get the fuck out of it. Do you know, and like, you know, when you live your truth, when you live, you can't fuck up if you're living in truth all the time. You know what I mean? And I love that part. Like, if you're living authentically, like, everything just flows. But this is it. We're hiding parts of ourselves that we think our parents won't like or our friends won't like. But if you're evolving out of this environment, if they're not doing the inner work, then why the fuck are you still trying to impress these people? Why are you even trying to impress anyone is the question. Because you shouldn't be looking outside yourself for validation. Be who you are. Let your freak flag fucking fly. Because people are going to judge you no matter what. You just have to find the right people. You know what I mean? People are going to love your weird or they're going to fucking hate your weird. The people who don't like your weird are triggered because they don't own their own weirdness. Anyone that gives out to you about your personality is triggered because they're suppressing their own. This is it. And you know, the way I see it as well, if you let your freak flag fly, it gives other people permission to let their freak flag fly. Do you get me? So be fucking weird. Because let's everyone else be weird. Because this is the part of ourselves that makes us real. We are unique human beings. But when we put on a fucking persona, we're all the fucking same. I was at a concert one time and this girl used to show me she worked in a cosmetic place for, you know, where they put on, not cosmetic, you know, surgery. And she was like, Jesus, it's lovely to see somebody different. And I was like, what? And she's like, everyone that walks into the cosmetic surgery place looks the exact fucking same. Everyone. Like every second person on the street looks the same. Why? Because they're fucking making themselves look the same. They're acting like something. Like, you could literally just, like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like, be fucking real. This is it. Like, fucking hell. Why do you want to look like everyone else? Why do you want to be like everyone else? 99% of people, not 99%. I don't have the statistics. But a lot of fucking people are toxic. A lot of people are fucking false. And a lot of people aren't owning their own authenticity. So why the fuck would you want to fucking be accepted by them anyway? Or why would you want to look like them? This is it, like, you know, why are we trying to be like everyone else? Because we're forced to be like everyone else. This is what society wants us to do. Society wants us to be little fucking slaves, little zombies, following around, sheep. Yeah, we're all fucking, why don't we all just put on a fucking sheep costume and fucking go, well, not me, because I'm on this side, but why don't they all put on a sheep costume and just wear that? Because that's effectively what they are. Sorry. It really triggers me when people aren't real. So yeah, yeah, this is it. This is the whole objective of, like, I'm kind of concentrating a lot on the shadow here because this is so important. There's no point in getting too far along because the shadow is the first step. Because this is how you own your authenticity. This is how you let go of that false mask, is by fucking opening up yourself to yourself. And this is it. Don't be afraid of what's in your shadow. It's actually fucking beautiful. All your shadow wants to do is come out and play. The shadow won't be pervy or evil or toxic or angry or aggressive if you actually accept it and say, hi, let's do this together. Because it's, and like, you know, even the simple things of when I had an unchecked shadow, like I used to suffer an awful, I have very vivid dreams all the time as well. But I used to have an awful lot of nightmares. Since a child, you know, all through my adult life, I had nightmares. But when I started doing my shadow work, I stopped having nightmares. You know what I mean? I still have vivid dreams. And sometimes, you know, they might be nice, but they're not nightmares. You know, I used to have people fucking chasing me with guns all the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like black clouds in the room and shit, this kind of stuff. This is what happens. Like, and if you're becoming spiritual, not becoming spiritual, we're all spiritual beings living a human experience. But if you're awakening to your spirituality, to your true self, which is the process of individuation really as well, then you're going to be susceptible to darker entities as well as light entities. So this is why having your shadow balanced is so important as well. Because, you know, when I used to, when I started my journey, when I was still doing shadow work, I remember one time I came back home from a trip home to friends, and I came back in and I staged the house, but at the time I didn't know that you had to open the windows. And I literally went to bed, and every single time I brought darkness with me from that weekend away, alcohol and all that kind of stuff. And 4 times that night, every time I fell asleep, I got sleep paralysis, like there was an entity on top of me. And this is when I actually fucking started going heavy on my shadow work and understanding how I needed to balance things, because, there was obviously still darkness getting into me, like. So this was like so important for me. Now I don't get sleep paralysis anymore, and I don't have any of those waking dreams anymore, thank fuck, because they're fucking scary. But like, this is all important when you're doing your spiritual journey, when you're doing this healing journey. I keep like, and I people are afraid of the word spiritual. We are souls living a human experience. We are naturally spiritual beings. It's not woo-woo, it's really who we are. Coming to know thyself is the process of individuation. It's the process of spirituality, spiritual awakening. It's awakening to your true self. It's a healing journey. So even if you don't want to call it a spiritual awakening, it's a healing journey. It's awakening of your soul, of your truth, of your divine essence. But you cannot be true to yourself unless you open your authenticity, unless you face your shadow, unless you do that shadow work. So, anyone that's looking, there's great meditations on YouTube to do shadow work, but there's also, do a bit of research into Carl Jung and individuation as well, because this has really fucking helped me. And this is when I started talking to myself, or, when he affirmed to me that talking to myself was actually not crazy. I was already starting to talk to my unconscious mind, and he says that it's very, very, it's the best way to get to know yourself is to talk to yourself. But this is the best way to get to know parts of yourself. Don't be ashamed of the little things. If you like something, say it. Who gives a fuck who judges you? They're going to judge you anyway, because no one likes the things you like anyway. If you speak about spirituality or speak about your soul or meditation to somebody who's fucking not awakened, they're going to tell you you're crazy anyway. So just don't tell them shit, like. Do you know what I mean? Or just walk away and don't hang around with those people anymore. So anyway, but this is the whole process. Getting to know your true self is taking off that fucking mask. Stop trying to fit into places that are fucking toxic. This is it, like. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Be your true, discover your true self. When you overcome your shadow, or not overcome your shadow, when you balance your shadow, when you balance your light and your dark, this is when you get to know your true self. This is when your soul will come out. This is when you get to face your anima. This is when you get to balance every aspect of who you truly are. And this is how you get to know who you truly are. And it's beautiful. It's actually beautiful. When you actually look deep within, no matter even if it's hard when you're healing, it's magical. What you find within yourself is absolutely fucking magical. So don't be afraid of that. Like, what's in your shadow isn't really that fucking bad. It's just society told you it was. Just because you have different desires as somebody else does not make you a bad person. Once you don't hurt anyone, you can fucking think what you like, once it's not harming yourself or others. So why are we led to be ashamed of certain things? Forget that shit. Like what you want. Do what you want. Don't be ashamed of it. Put up that Christmas tree early. Fuck, who cares? Fuck, who cares what people say? This is the kind of thing I'm trying to say. Like, don't suppress parts of yourself. Don't suppress parts of things that you like just because everyone says, geez, you can't do that. Fucking hell. Sorry, I get real Irish. My Irish accent comes out louder when I'm, excited. But anyway, this is how you get to discover who you truly are. Don't be afraid of what's in your shadow. Bring it out to play. This is going to be a fun experience. This is a fun experience. You get to rediscover some amazing aspects of yourself. You get to be your unique unicorn self. You get to be who you truly are if you just balance your light and dark. It's not that fucking dark. That's actually where all the colour is. So yeah, this is the process of individuation. This is the path to becoming your true self. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.